This is Affogato, a cafe management reverse tower defense RPG with a sprinkle of Persona for good measure. And it just launched today, August 17th on Steam. Be sure to check out the link in the description to check it out for yourself. In fact, the development team are giving away free Steam keys over on their Twitter page, so be sure to head over there as well for a chance at a free copy of the game. Now let's actually talk about the game, shall we? So like I mentioned before, it's a visual novel life sim crossed with coffee making gameplay and a healthy dose of reverse tower defense. Wild, right? You might recall that I made a video about the demo earlier in the year, and you guys liked the video so much that the team behind Affogato wanted to sponsor another video for launch. So this video is sponsored by Affogato and Spiral Up Games. Now, as a disclaimer, they didn't tell me what to say. I was able to be 100% honest, and quite a bit has changed actually from the demo version, so my overall thoughts have changed a little bit slightly for the positive. Now, before I share my updated thoughts, let me actually give you an overview of the game and tell you what it's all about. So you play as Affogato, a magenta-haired witch with magical powers. She's accompanied by her partner in crime, Mephisto, and they're kind of joined at the hip. And apparently Mephisto likes to wear her shirt backwards. Now, after a series of failed coffee shops in other cities, they arrive in Aurora, a city of perpetual night, to try again. But here in Aurora, things aren't exactly as they seem. People are afflicted with strange illnesses, and you'll need to heal them. More on that in a little bit. Throughout the game, you'll meet a cast of colorful characters that'll come to your coffee shop and share stories with you, like the high school student Aoi, the super shy Lindsay, Emma, who works as a rental girlfriend, and your old friend Sarah. They each have distinct, fun personalities, and they've since added full Japanese voiceover, so it really helps bring these characters to life in a way that the demo just wasn't able to. And I didn't mention this in my demo video, so I'll mention this here. The character portraits have a really cool art style to them. They all have really bold colors and cool shading. The in-game character models are obviously a little bit more simple, but I think it still works for what the game is going for. On the flip side, the art during the coffee making segments are quite elaborate, going so far as to create unique art for each extra ingredient you add, so I think that balances things out. Now, initially during my time playing through the demo, I kind of just skipped through the dialogue again because it didn't have voice acting, but now I got really invested in each character, not only because there was unique voice acting, but because there were also unique events for each character. As you got to talk to them throughout the days, you could experience different events and you can deepen your bonds with them. Now, certain characters, you needed to have certain characteristics leveled up to a certain level, and you can do this through consuming items or activities around town. And this is really where the Persona inspiration comes in. And again, much like Persona, the game works on a calendar system. For the first few days, it's all scripted and you can't really do what you want, but after that, you're free to do whatever activities you want, like visit with other characters, go to different shops around town to level up different traits, do side battles, or tackle the main quest. Again, much like Persona, you have to do certain story quests by a certain day, but this timetable is pretty generous, so you don't have to worry about that too much as long as you're not too lackadaisical about it. And I think what really helps is the difficulty options. Before, I played on normal and I had a really challenging time with it, but here I just put it on easy and it made it feel so much more enjoyable. In fact, I think I failed the first level like 3 or 4 times, and after that, I just put it on easy. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. Now, you also have the coffee shop gameplay. Here you have one customer at a time, and they'll tell you about their life, order a drink, and again, you can increase your bonds with them. Now, the coffee making mechanics here are very involved. The game gives you instructions and ingredients to complete these, and they need to be done in a very specific order or you can't progress, or you'll even need to start over. For example, you'll need to make the coffee before you pour the milk, before you add the whipped cream. Now, I'm not sure what they changed, but I remember this process being much more annoying in the demo, but they seem to have either streamlined it or only had a few items for you to make at the beginning so you could really get a good understanding of how to do this. And what's cool is they added extra little flourishes you can add to your drinks like sugar, cinnamon, and much more. From what I can tell, this doesn't seem to affect anything stat-wise or money-wise, but it is neat nonetheless. And what's cool is after the game lets you loose, you can kind of do whatever you want. You can open the coffee shop and earn some money, you can save people around town, you can spend time with your friends and make coffee for them back at the shop, and all kinds of other stuff. And I just want to say one last time that I cannot express how much more enjoyable the coffee making experience is here in the full version. Although there was one weird language bug when you try to add an ingredient that you weren't supposed to. Not a huge deal, doesn't really affect gameplay, but I did want to mention that. And I will say, I think this game is really for people that enjoy the process of making coffee, people that like to do their own pour overs and really get into the craft of it. So if you really enjoy making coffee, this game might be for you. Next, let's talk about the reverse tower defense gameplay, because this is a solid chunk of your time that you'll be spending here in the game. Now, to access these, you'll need to find people afflicted with different illnesses. And to do this, you'll need to use your magic vision, and you'll see people on the streets. They'll have like little green poison bubbles around them or red swirling energy. They're very easy to spot. And of course, there's more story-centric moments like in the local high school, hospital, and other areas around around town. This gameplay is sort of representative of Affogato going into these people's minds and curing them. Think of like Catherine when he's in his mind doing all those different puzzles. The gameplay is a little complicated, so hang with me here as I explain it. So as I mentioned, it's reverse tower defense. So you're not going to be putting things down and the enemies aren't going to be coming towards you. The enemies are already placed and you'll need to be running around them. You'll deploy characters and you're always moving forward. Now to deploy characters, this requires a currency called Penta. At the beginning, it's very limited, but you can find more coins as you defeat enemies. And there's even a character that can generate Penta. Now each character has a very specific function. The Hermit does a little bit of damage and generates Penta like I mentioned. Strength is the main attacker and will do damage. Chariot blocks attacks and can't attack. And the World cures your party and also can't attack. And as you go through the game, you can purchase more cards. You can even level up the cards so they'll do more damage. So this is really where the RPG elements really come in. Now as your party moves across the grid, you'll see these yellow arrows and you'll need to click on them to change the direction your party moves. And this is obviously very, very crucial. This is a key mechanic to completing all the levels, especially if you want to get all the different items, treasures, checkpoints, and just survive the matches. Now what's cool is here they've added full controller support, which I appreciate, but after trying it, I really feel like mouse and keyboard is the way to go. It's so much more intuitive, especially considering all the different little things you have to click and how much you're clicking and pausing the game. Doing it with a controller is just not very efficient. And because the gameplay is kind of hard to wrap your head around at first, the game can be extremely frustrating and normal. Like I said before, I probably replayed the first level like 3 times before dropping it down to easy. It just makes for a way more fun and streamlined experience. Now, if you're really good at RTS games, tower defense games, or puzzle games, you could try it on normal just to see if you can wrap your mind around it. But for RPG players like myself, easy is definitely the way to go. Overall, it just makes the game loop way more enjoyable. Now, you do have lots of options to plot out your strategy, like pausing the game or even speeding up the game 2 times if you just kind of want to blow through it. At times, I wish you could speed up the game 3 times or even more, because there are times where you kind of have to go around in a circle and you have to wait for your characters to move. Now, as the game moves on and you get to more challenging levels and you kind of wrap your head around the mechanics, it can be really satisfying and engaging. In fact, at the end of chapters, you'll encounter boss battles that are a little bit more elaborate and you really have to think about it. Not only are you trying to hit the boss and do damage, but you're also trying to dodge attacks. Now on easy, this is a pretty solid challenge, but on normal, it's almost impossible, it feels like. Like I said, not only are you trying to dodge attacks and do damage, which is just a tricky balance on its own, but your characters are always moving forward, and so it's a little hard to time when you want to switch up the arrows to move out of the way. It can be kind of annoying. On top of this, in each new phase of the fight, new enemies will spawn, so it can get really frustrating. If it's not clear by now, you should play on easy. Now, what I didn't get to experience in the demo because I couldn't beat the boss, and I'm not sure if these were even in the demo to begin with, were the compelling chapter endings. Now, I don't want to spoil these here at all because I think these are the best moments in the entire game, but these are definitely worth beating the bosses for. They're really fascinating character stories. It almost feels like the end of Persona dungeons, like in Persona 4, where you get to really learn about specific characters. So I definitely think these are the highlights of the game and well worth completing each chapter for. Overall, I have to say that Affogato has come a long way since its demo a few months back. The overall game loop is way more addictive, the frustrating mechanics became streamlined and enjoyable, and the chapter conclusions, which weren't in the demo as far as I can recall, elevate the game quite a bit and make completing each chapter very rewarding. Now, once again, if you want to check out this game for yourself, I'll leave a link to the Steam page and the developer's Twitter page in the links below, so you have a chance to win a free copy of the game if you head over to their Twitter page. And thanks once again to Spiral Up Games and Affogato for sponsoring this video. Now, if you want to check out what other JRPGs are still to come in 2023, make sure you check out this video right here. And special thanks to Reset Switch, Tyler Kuzawa, and the Miyazaki Man for supporting me over on Patreon. To get exclusive videos and other cool perks, consider supporting me over on patreon.com/thegamingshelf. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.